Dave always has to eat something.
You notice that?
Always has to be eating at the beginning of the show.
Well, I forget to get dinner beforehand, and we know what happens if I don't eat before I drink.
Right. This is true. Yes, we've seen that. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room. It is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you, and with me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
See, I told you. Did the intro lie?
No, the intro did not lie.
Always eating this guy. Always.
Yep. Happy meat, by the way. I am eating.
Say it again.
Happy Meatball, National Meatball Day.
Happy National Meatball Day. There you go.
And I'm eating some of the best meatballs in the history of mankind.
In the history of mankind. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement.
No damn good meatballs. Anyway, I was going to make a meatball parm out of them, but I ran out of time.
Well, you have to do that when Scott Wells comes on the show. He can have his chicken parm, and you can have your meatball parm. Well, he can have his chicken parm, and you can have your meatball parm.
It's a chicken parm with Alfredo, as a matter of fact, right?
There you go.
So,
anyway. So, that's another Jersey brewery, but we have a different Jersey brewery on the show with us today.
One I've not been to.
One you've not been to. One I've been to many times. I was just there on Saturday, as a matter of fact.
Were you?
I was. Why don't we introduce our guests, plural, for the moment. Let's welcome to the show Alex and Brian, both from Old Hights Brewing. There they are.
Hey, guys.
How's it going, guys?
Howdy.
Good. Those meatballs look good.
Oh, they're so good.
Did you make them yourself?
Mm-mm.
That's why they're good.
No. I can make a pretty good meatball, but she makes meatballs a lot better than I do.
So anyway, how you guys doing today?
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
You'd be better if you had meatballs.
You'd be better if you had meatballs. Yeah, exactly. How's the brewery these days? Or today, yesterday?
It's good. It's getting busier and busier. The warmer it gets.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Actually, we were lucky. We got a lot of diehards, right, Brian?
Oh yeah.
Going out in the snow.
Yeah, the below freezing. Shaking, drinking beer. It's
that's what I've got to ask.
I heard there was one idiot that was upstairs in the loft on that one Sunday during the snowstorm.
That guy in the top left corner of my screen.
That was me. Yeah, that's me.
I need to ask Alice. I haven't even drank anything yet today. I'm going to ask Alex this one thing.
So
you're working in the brewery. Alex. It's the warmest day we've had all year, and you're wearing a sweater. How's that possible?
Something tells me he wasn't wearing it all day. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark.
It's probably covering up like a beer-stained shirt underneath, right?
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts, actually. I got my brewery shorts on.
There you go.
And my boots.
Oh, yeah. You might be the only person here wearing pants.
Yeah. Well, I had to wear this particular hoodie for the show. So.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, nice.
So. Not the cap. Didn't get a cap. So
you didn't get a cap?
No, not yet. I'm rocking the Trillium cap right now. So.
Hey, if you guys make a jersey, he'll buy it. Just saying.
Jersey. It's not just because I live in New Jersey.
It's funny. Jerseys. There was some people in the brewery. They were looking at our merchandise, and I was all excited to show them our Jersey Pride shirts, with the state on it.
Sure.
And I couldn't believe how unimpressed and underwhelmed they were. And I found out they're from Pennsylvania. And I was like, forget it. They don't care. They don't care about. They don't want the New Jersey on their.
But you'll take their money anyway.
Oh yeah, money's as green as anybody else's.
Why don't you care? Why don't you care?
Just as long as they stay out of the left lane.
Exactly. Just tell them it's Jersey Pride. It's not about New Jersey. It's jerseys. You're prideful wearing jerseys.
I'll tell you, I lived in Texas for like 6 years, and when I saw anything that reminded me of the East Coast or New Jersey, if someone was wearing a shirt, anything, I would get so excited. We talk. I didn't even know the person. And we ended up talking for like 45 minutes.
I just spent the last year in Rhode Island, and that was the same thing. If I saw Jersey plates in the parking lot, they saw my plates, we'd start talking.
I talk to him. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, right?
I'm sure that happens with anybody who's out of state and sees states plates from their own state.
Absolutely, especially here.
But of course, it won't turn into a fist fight if you bring up pork roll or Taylor ham.
Well, most of the time you're out of state and you bring up either pork roll or Taylor ham. Either or, they say what?
Yeah.
What is that? What exactly are you talking about?
They have no clue.
And you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, spam." No.
No. And you know my line for it, right?
What's your line for it? Tell us.
It's
Tell everybody.
Hopefully, kids aren't listening right now, but it says if spam hate fucked baloney.
Wow.
That's wow.
I'm trying to get that out of my mind right now.
Every time you eat it now.
An R rating on this particular podcast.
No spam, stop.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, in this day and age with everything going on, that's pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I digress. Why don't we crack a beer before we get started, folks? Brian's only with us for part time of the show. He has another gig that he has to do tonight, as all good brewery owners do sometimes have another gig. So, but he will join us.
So he's
on
the wagon.
He's on the wagon tonight. There you go.
He's on the wagon for the night, right?
Till 8 o'clock, yes.
Till 8 o'clock.
So,
maybe I'll come back.
There you go. Yeah, we're still on, by all means. Yeah.
Yeah, we might still be here.
All right.
There you go. So why don't you open your beer first, there, Mr. Samurai?
Oh, we're gonna go with the KCBC.
You going with
and
KCBC?
This is Savage Crush. Guys, I have to apologize. I couldn't find any of your beer. I'm up in the northeast corner of the state and couldn't find anything just yet. You guys are going to get up here, right?
Eventually.
So I told you, John, it wasn't up here.
I'm only about a half an hour away, so maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah, you gotta get me some of this stuff. Which glass? I'm going to put this in my Einstein glass.
Why don't you do that?
And look at this. This is not pink. Every beer
he's had nothing but pink beers the last two shows. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, it's. I'm starting.
Oddly enough, one was a barley wine. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't. I'm just kidding. Brian Alt, our producer, with air quotes, says you need Augie on for a change to explain the difference. That difference would be pork roll and Taylor ham.
We're not gonna.
That's a whole show in itself, Brian. If we get Augie on to talk the difference between pork roll and Taylor ham. So.
No, it won't. It'll be 30 seconds of him telling us the way it is. And
the difference between them is pork roll exists. Augie would say the difference between them is pork roll exists. There is no such thing as Taylor ham. That would be his explanation. That's
if you look at the package, nowhere ever on that package does it say Taylor ham.
So, but in any event, I digress again. So we're
supposed to be talking. We've been talking nothing about food. We're supposed to be talking about Old Hights.
Food pairs with beer. Let's start with
now. The question is why Old Hights?
Hold on.
You're going to do something first?
Well, I'd like to open a beer. Is that all right with you?
Oh no, you can open the beer while they're in the question.
Alex, you got a beer you're drinking?
Yeah, let Alex open.
I got one. Yeah.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking our Italian Pilsner.
Your Italian Pilsner. It's a very tasty.
What is it called?
Hardheads.
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 It's a very tasty beer. We're drinking Ruggies Hill. So,
why Hardheads?
Well, it's actually a collaboration we did with Jeff at Heavy Reel, and his grandfather lives like one town over, so he brought him over to have some. Actually, our other Italian Pilsner that we made, we made it was called Parlor Trick. It was kind of an homage to an Italian Pilsner, a dry hop lager that we made, and he loved it. We started talking about how both our families are from Calabria. So I said, well, let's do a collaboration, Italian Pilsner, and we got to call it Hardheads because Testadora, Italians, Calabrians, they got hard heads. So,
Collaboration.
There you go.
Collaboration.
Ooh.
There you go.
Good.
That's write that one down. Jot that one down.
There you go. There's the third Italian Pilsner in your arsenal.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Brian, I love the glass.
Yeah.
Thank you. It'll be filled later.
This is a tasty beer. Ruggies Hill. So kudos on that one. So go ahead. You were asking a question there, Dave.
Yes. No, I was going to ask a question. So Old Heights.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, why not New Heights? And second of all, what happened to the E?
Well, you want me to go?
Yeah.
I'll speak. So it's actually our first location that we were going to open in was the original movie theater in town, and it was called Old Heights, named after Hightstown, which Hights. Yeah, there's no E in Hightstown, so Old Heights was the name of the movie theater, and we looked it up. Name wasn't taken. So
there's a big plus this day and age, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It seemed fitting. We really kind of built this place to, as a kind of a community gathering. It was really kind of giving back to the community and celebrating its interesting history. It's a small town. It's it's a really small town, a few blocks, but it has its own turnpike exit.
Right, it does.
Tiny town with its own exit on the turnpike.
But it was an old it was a stop. There was a railroad going right through town. It was one of the stops, like on the way to Freehold, on the way to any kind of major city. It was a working town and big farm town, and it has a lot of really interesting history. So Brian's from very close by. I live around the block, and the other two partners either live in town or very close by as well. And if you've been here, it seems like the perfect place to have a brewery.
Well,
didn't have one.
The only place I've ever been in Hightstown was Tavern on the Lake.
Uh-huh.
Are they still there?
Yep. They're still there.
Yeah, we're right up the street from there. Right up the street.
Okay, so because I've got to visit my sister soon. She lives in Manalapan, so not too far from you guys.
No.
Just down 33.
All right, you'll have to stop in.
Yeah. Drag her along, kicking and screaming.
There you go.
Yeah. So you mentioned Beer Samurai. You mentioned you couldn't find our beers up by you, and I mean, eventually we'll make our way out. But the original idea was to, that brings people together. Turn off the turnpike, check out this cute little town that's, it's got great restaurants. It's a cool little walking town. Most people go, where? And they never heard of it. But you say, well, exit 8, and they know it's a turnpike exit. So.
Oh, sure. You're driving down the turnpike all the years, you say
Hightstown.
What's
that?
That's on the turnpike. I know that.
It's on the
turnpike. Right after the Great Adventure exit.
Right. And hopefully everyone start thinking beer.
Right.
Everyone from North Jersey says, oh, you're in South Jersey. And then everyone from South Jersey
saying, oh,
we're up north.
We covered that in the show once. You're from Central Jersey, so everyone from the north thinks you're from the South, and everyone from the South thinks you're from the North.
Yeah.
And if you
Central
can get
Jersey.
both New York and Pennsylvania and Philadelphia stations at the same time,
right.
Back in the day when it was on antennas and not everything was digital, that you were certainly in Central Jersey.
Sure. We're all connected to Central Jersey right now. I'm in Belmar, and Beer Samurai grew up in Jackson. So
I never grew up.
Well, Beer Samurai lived his younger years without growing up in Jackson.
I went to high school in Jackson.
There you go.
Graduated even.
Imagine that. Wow.
Hey guys, I gotta run to my next appointment. Hey, I'm gonna check back in around 8. If you're still here, I will enjoy a beer with you.
Yeah, check back in, and if not, thank you for joining for a short time anyway. And
we'll Beer Samurai, we will meet soon.
We'll all have a beer together at the brewery at some point. So.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Brian.
Right.
Enjoy.
Good seeing you, Brian.
So anyway, you said
okay. So what's the scuttlebutt on Brian? Tell us while he's not around.
All right.
So how did you get into business with a band instructor?
There you go.
Well, it's funny because I didn't let the cat out of the bag, but I'm actually a tuba player myself. He's a trumpet player.
There you go.
So
we're all brass guys, basically.
Yeah, we're all brass guys.
Trombone here and tuba on the other side there.
But I went to I was in Texas. I had my doctorate in musical arts, actually, in tuba performance and conducting.
Wow.
So
where'd you go?
A doctorate in tuba?
Tuba performance, yep, and conducting, wind band conducting.
That's great.
I went to the University of North Texas.
Okay.
Right above Dallas and Fort Worth.
Sure.
So
yeah, I know
it's a cool. If you've been, it's in Denton, Texas. Have you been there? It's cool.
Denton, Texas. No, of it. Haven't been.
Say I have.
Been to Dallas. Haven't been to Denton. So.
Yeah. It's a cool little hippie town. Like it's it's actually really grown a lot. Like the university and the town kind of grew together. It's pretty awesome. I had a great time there. I was there for like 6 years, and came back because I missed my family. And then me and Brian started playing together, just in quintets and orchestras and bands and just same circle. And we both have similar interests. You know, we're both like obsessive about like barbecue and coffee and making beer. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it was just
familiar.
All hand in hand.
Exactly.
And then from this, it just grew. You know, my brother's actually really got me into the whole really making beer. He's a molecular biologist and he's a beer nerd, and he really kind of showed me the ropes. And then just working with Brian, talking to Brian,
he
playing
brews
with Brian.
beer atom by atom. He brews beer.
So he's going to be your Zimmergist.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Just not to get off the history of it, but before I forget it, I got to ask really quick. Is it a combo or a trio that plays occasionally on Saturdays outside?
Oh
you
yeah,
guys involved with that at all, or?
Did you come to any
I
of
have
that?
not. I've been trying to get there, and every time I go out there on a Saturday, they're not there. And when I'm not, I'm on Instagram. They are there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you gotta let me know definitely when they're going to be there, and I'll just come out. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of different friends, so we have different groups play. It's kind of cool, actually. I have a lot of family and just friends that are just amazing musicians, like, you know, up for Grammys, like really good jazz musicians. Yeah. So, yeah, like my brother-in-law has a really great jazz group who's going to come out. We're going to have him. We're trying to get him to come out and play soon. And I got a colleague of mine who gigs a lot. Well, not recently. So actually, that's why we've been getting them, to tell you the truth, because it's really hard to get.
Right.
Live concerts have kind of not been around. So, but
Sure,
I have
absolutely.
really, really unbelievable players that have been coming out and playing for us. So, yeah.
That's
But if you
awesome.
check not everyone's on social media, but if you check our social media, we always try and update that on when that's going to be happening.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So,
I'll check it.
We'll
have to
time
out
it.
there. We'll definitely time it. Come out definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to keep my trombone in its case. It's been so long since I played.
I do not have a tuba. So.
I
oh,
can't
come on, we're
imagine
going to
you
get you
would.
one, man.
I actually have a trombone, oddly enough, but I don't.
Do
have a
you
tuba.
really?
I do. You want it?
No, I have mine, and I don't know why I keep moving it from state to state to state.
There you go.
I haven't played it in probably 30 years.
Oh, geez. But anyway, back to you, Alex.
Yes.
What when through all of your musical travels and everything, did you decide to start brewing beer? Was it your brother, or was it?
Yeah, no, it was with my brother. It was actually I brewed with people, and I learned a lot. It wasn't until like I bought my own house that I decided to really kind of trick things out and make things really really dive deep into it.
Sure.
And then it started growing from there. That kind of the history of this, it was kind of interesting. It was more of an evolution. Like my neighbor owned a restaurant downtown.
Okay.
And I was making beer, and then me and Brian were kind of making beer together again because we worked together so much, and we both made beer. And then people were trying the beer, and then it just kind of kept growing from there. And it got to the point where my backyard neighbor, our backyards almost touch. He came over and he was drinking some of the beer, and it just kept on kind of growing and growing until we kind of had a team together. And before we had, it was just the three of us. He's an architect, so he kind of had this whole plan of how to build it.
Right.
And me and Brian were able to figure out, we knew like, okay, what do we need to brew it? And then we went to the bank, and they kind of laughed at us. And then we realized that we needed like another piece. And that's when we kind of met, who lives just a few blocks away, our other partner who works for Bloomberg. And he was like, yeah, he's like, money? That's what I do for a living. So he's like, I can figure out how to make this all work. And that was like the missing piece. And then the four of us just kind of went from there. And 2 years later, it just kind of landed. Actually, even finding our location has quite an interesting history too. It's like the old lumber yard of Hightstown.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that, John.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and actually the building where we're at, this is where they used to take the lumber. Well, they used to take the trees and cut it down into lumber. So it was this kind of odd shaped shed.
Okay.
Like it was very utilitarian. It wasn't very attractive. It was very, very old. And basically because it was an existing structure, we were, and it wasn't safe. We were able to actually take it down and then build up to a certain amount outside of what was already there. Does that make sense? So really, our square footage was dependent on like what was already there as far as zoning purposes. This is all stuff that I wouldn't know, but our architect, person knew. So it's just all these pieces, kind of everything we needed to know. Like everyone had like their own set of skills that were able to put it all together. It's really crazy how it all worked.
Nice.
We didn't mean for it to work that well, but that's how it happened. So then, and that's what's interesting is the same landlord owns this entire like lot. And the front building, which is Perennial Homes, it's a really nice store. That was the original showroom for the lumberyard. So you walk in that store, and it's like there's like 4 or 5 different types of tin ceilings when you walk in, and you'd walk in and pick out like what you want in your house, and it's pretty cool how everything kind of worked together. But
it's pretty awesome.
But yeah, here we are.
And here you are. How was it trying to get everything launched and get going during the damn pandemic?
I'll tell you, it's still crazy. Like there's a lot of things that you just don't realize you need to know or think of.
Right.
Paperwork wise, just I'll tell you one thing that was interesting, and the town's been great. The town's been really great. We had to put in. I thought it was a slam dunk. I thought it was like opening up a restaurant or opening up. Anything, you know what I mean, in the town. But because it was a brewery, even though we're very small on this very small scale, when they looked at our application, they still felt like we were manufacturing and we needed to have a use variance, which that's a whole nother ball of wax with a lawyer and presenting and then opening it up to what's it called, public forum, so the town can come in. And if you were just opening a restaurant, like it wouldn't be something you can do. But because we were making beer, even though we're not Budweiser, I tried to explain it in a million different ways.
Right.
I was like, imagine like we're making cupcakes, right? But there's no cupcakes yet. I got to get the ingredients and bake it, and then you get the cup. We're not Hostess. I'm not Tasty Cake. I'm just making like some cupcakes. And
right.
It's like,
yeah. Exactly.
No, sorry.
That's a good analogy. I like that actually. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was trying to explain it. Like,
now on cupcakes.
Everyone loves cupcakes, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So, but it was great having that meeting.
The next
like
pastry stout is a called cupcake. Everybody loves cupcakes. That's the name of the stout. Right?
But having that meeting, the whole town came out, and they were like unbelievable in their support. Just like walk one after another, talking about how we need to have this. So it was actually pretty awesome.
That's great.
That's great.
So,
yeah. So.
How what was I going to say? What was the first thing you guys the first beer you rolled off that was like your signature? Hey, this is the first beer we're going to brew. We're officially we're licensed to manufacture now.
The first beer we brewed was a Belgian triple. It was at Westport Abbey. I don't know if you had that.
I did actually.
You did have that? Yeah, that was the very first beer we made. And I think the second was our cream ale, that Porch Tour. Yeah. So we and the names we come up with. Actually, my wife comes up with the name. She does the can art too.
Awesome.
But we have these historical books, and in Hightstown, it's real big. Like the Historical Society does house tours, and they do porch tours as well because there's a ton of like old porches. So that's we were just kind of going with that vein. With some of this stuff,
it's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of interesting names, and there'll be a few that come up later in the top threes.
Mm-hmm.
There's one definitely want to talk about. But I'll save that for the top threes.
All right.
But,
we should say those things.
Backtracking back to when you first started brewing, what was the very first beer you brewed, or even style of beer? I mean, obviously.
It was a Saison.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to start.
Yeah, it was. My it was actually kind of it was kind of in my early 20s. Me and my my buddy, who's actually was a trombone player, bass trombone player. No, we were like obsessed.
I was bass trombone as well, actually.
Oh yeah, damn you.
Yeah.
So we really into beer, and we were obsessed with. We went on the Saison Dupont kick. We had to have every Friday.
Nothing wrong with that.
We get a few bottles of that.
Nope.
We get some food, and that, we went on that. And I was like, let's make this beer. We got to make this beer, and that was the first beer that we made at his place. It was all his equipment, but that was the first deep dive into making that beer. And then it's interesting when I came back. That's actually my wife's favorite beer as well. Yeah, Saison
or Saison Dupont, is it?
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's your thing. Yeah,
that's a great beer to enjoy.
Yes, it is.
Actually, I think I have 2 bottles of it downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. My beer supply is actually dwindling, so I may have to throw one in there.
You're gonna have to. One of mine, or just go out and get it?
I'll just go out and get it.
There you go.
It's not like it's hard to find.
Right. No. It's pretty easy, and that's a beautiful thing too. It's a great beer, and it's easy to find to some extent, anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's the craziest beer you've attempted so far? Crazy style beer, whatever.
Craziest style?
Yeah.
As much as you mean here in the brewery at Old Hights?
Yeah. Well, wherever. I mean, if you did one at home that was insane, that's fine.
We always, it's funny. We're always. We made, I guess the craziest for here, I guess it wouldn't be that crazy for some people, but we made that pumpkin pie milkshake, I would say would be the craziest.
Pumpkin pie milkshake. Okay.
Pumpkin pie milkshake.
Pumpkin pie milkshake IPA. And I'm going to be honest, me and Brian are pretty good about, we're big, go big or go home people. If you're going to say it's in there, put it in. Yeah. But yeah, if you're going to say something's in there, put it in there, but we're also, at the same time saying that, we don't want to, we try and keep things balanced. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you had that beer.
I did.
Yeah. So there was a lot of pumpkin in there.
There was.
That was a stressful day.
It was quite literally a pumpkin pie milkshake.
It's a lot. Yeah. But I still think it was pretty balanced. I don't think you would taste that and think this is insane. You know what I mean?
No, I mean,
I would say as far
insane
as
for what it was, but it was dialed in.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It was a drinkable beer. If you taste it, reading it, it might scare someone who's more of a traditional beer drinker.
Right.
But if you tasted it, the flavors are there, but I think you could definitely still enjoy that beer. There was nothing off-putting.
What about someone who doesn't like pumpkin beers?
Yeah, you mean the pumpkin spice flavor? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, then that
wouldn't be the one. Are you asking him what's the craziest style he brewed for somebody that doesn't like pumpkin beers? Is that what you're asking?
No. I'm just saying he's saying it was approachable for someone who's
approachable. I got you.
Right.
It wasn't over the top, sickening sweet or too much spice.
Didn't go heavy on the clove.
No, we didn't go too heavy on the clove. Yeah. Growing up, my dad was always weird about clove.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I think it was it reminded him of the word cloven, of the Jersey Devil. Evil. It was evil. This is an evil spice.
Cloves are evil. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bleeds devil.
Stay
Well, Mama
away.
was no cloves. No cloves. Don't put cloves in that.
That's it. That's right. I was going to say. So you went straight from home brewing to on the brewery. You didn't get involved with the brewery.
We shadow brewed quite a bit. We spent a few summers jumping around, shadow brewing quite a bit. But we basically went from home brewing to just jumping right in.
Gotcha.
And again, we went to some. It's crazy shadow brewing too. Going around and talking to people and just going for a brew day. Everyone does it different. In a different way. Their process is completely different. I mean, their brewing equipment's different. And we actually went to, once we honed in on the system that we were going with, we really tried to go to the places that had a 7-barrel steam system, 3-vessel system, basically the same equipment that we were going to be getting.
Sure. Right, yeah.
And did
you know what I mean?
And shadow brewing like that.
why go to a 40-barrel brew house and
Yeah.
what the hell's that going to do for you? You know?
It's
brewing
crazy.
like
Some of the places we've been to, places that did like systems like, I don't know if you're familiar with Brew in a Bag. Like they had systems where they have like, come-alongs or gurneys, like pulling things
Sure.
that we're not doing. Just completely different setups. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I know of one that actually has it like has their setup like their mash tun is basically a big tea kettle where it lifts the mash out. I know you know what I'm talking about if that's the one you're talking about. So,
But
they brew great beer.
Awesome beer, exactly.
Yeah.
See, it's funny. So we went to a place, and I remember just asking them because I'm just like my mind's all over the place because I want to make the right decisions and I want to understand, I want to research the right things, and it basically just boiled down to you can make good beer on anything. Like you can make good beer on anything. Like as long as you pay attention to details and you understand what you have, and you're able to. Like I can't tell you how many times we had to think on our toes. And you know what else? This town is freaking awesome. I love this town. When we were installing, this guy comes in who was like a friend of a friend who I never met before.
Right.
And he's like, listen, I'm a sanitary welder. I just retired. I live around the block. Do you need anything? I'm like, and then you know what? Within 2 days, I was like, oh my God. I was like, what's your number? I texted him, like, can you do this? He's like, yeah, it's just metal. And I was like, great. Can you do this? He's like, yeah, it's just metal. Like, great. Can you do this? He's like, yeah, it's fine. It's just metal. I'm like, okay, great. And then all of a sudden, like all these little like design issues, we'll say, like things I didn't think of that it's like, oh, this is not going to work. I need to change this.
Right.
We had this sanitary welder, like literally around the corner.
That's
Who would be
great.
like, yeah, no problem. I could fix that, or I could do that, or I could put this custom thing here on. I'm like, wow.
There's another beer name. It's just metal.
It's just metal.
Right. Yeah. It's just crazy. And the same thing.
metal.
An electrician is around the corner. He's he works on like VFD pumps. He does like he's like, yeah, call him whenever you need me. Shoot me a text. It's like this town is just.
That's great.
Been awesome. Yeah.
You got to love a small town like that.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, we've been really lucky. So it's really just like, honestly, it's, I'll tell you, me and Brian, both being musicians, and you guys know, because you played, things don't always, it's not like notes on a page and everything goes perfectly. Press play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Everyone's got to be on that same page.
Yeah. Sometimes the kid next to you gets lost,
Yeah.
and then it's like,
Oh,
no, how do I fix this? Or things happen and you gotta, and if you're
The music
in a
falls off
concert,
the stand.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like anything can happen and you got to think on your toes and you got to make it work so you get to the end and hopefully the audience doesn't notice, right?
Hey. So you reach over and without anybody noticing, you pull the mouthpiece out of his mouth and then you point on the you point on the score where
The only thing
here,
is,
idiot.
one of my biggest gaffes that was really hard to go unnoticed. I lost my slide into the
I knew
audience.
you were going to go there.
Yeah.
You let go.
Yeah, it was just right off into the front row of the audience.
Hey. Oh, you let go of it. It just went.
Oh yeah, it skittered underneath the saxophone players, right through I think it was Roy's legs and right to the front row. It's hard
There's
to
another
miss
beer
that.
name right through Roy's legs. Trombone pale ale right through Roy's legs.
He'd be so honored. He is a beer drinker.
There you go.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great.
We're gonna name your next 20 beers on this show.
I think we already did, actually.
we got 4.
You got 4. You writing them down like you always do there?
No. I'm not taking
get that pad out. So yes.
Something's backing up.
I don't know what that is. I'm not quite sure what that is, but
Garbage pickup this way.
No. I'm not sure. In any event, we'll continue though. Oh, there it goes. All right. So, in any event, we'll. We got a couple of messages here. Hold on one second. First of all, Brian said he played the French horn in high school.
Hey.
There's a joke about that.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone. Matt Potensky said Trombone Catastrophe. That's a great beer name.
That is a great
There
name.
you go.
I like it.
And Brian said they definitely wanted to pull my mouthpiece out when I played. There you go.
The joke's actually not that bad. It's about the wives of brass players, where you've got a tuba player's wife, trumpet player's wife, and a French horn player's wife, and the trumpet player's wife is complaining that the way her husband kisses, his mouth is too tight because the trumpet mouthpiece.
Sure.
Well, the tuba player's wife is like, well, he's like all over the place, like getting slobbered on the whole time. The French horn player's wife is, oh, I don't mind the way he kisses. I just don't know like where he puts his hand.
Well, I got to give her one of these bump. There you go. All right. Dave will be here all week. Don't forget to tip your bartenders.
On that note, I'm opening another beer.
Yeah, what's your next beer there, Mr.
Well, I've got to go parse out my Rhode Island beers I brought with me.
Slowly but surely.
So this, most of the ones that are left are stouts. Unfortunately, I've got some kettle sour, so they won't last too long. But this one is, it's Smug. You know how much I love Smug.
Ah, Brutella.
Smug Brutella.
And I actually have one of them downstairs too. I should drink it soon too.
Yes, I did give you one of those, and I think I've got a couple more in the fridge there. So yes, obviously a chocolate hazelnut dessert stout, as the crawl says.
Yes, dessert stout. Is that a new style now? Is that an official style? Dessert stout.
Pastry stout, right? Pastry stout.
Pastry stout. It says right on the can. It says it right on the can. Turn it the right way.
There it is.
Stout. There you go. Well, according to Rob at Smug, dessert stout is a beer style.
Hey,
Old Nutella.
How many styles has Augie invented?
Oh, plenty.
The Trail Ale, one of my favorites.
Trail Ale, Highlander Weiss.
Highlander Weiss.
Yep. It's not Carton.
And
Brewer,
the
Alex.
And the Blazon.
Blazon, right?
Yeah.
Alex, when Carton brews a Berliner Weiss, well, Augie says they're not in Berlin; they're in the Atlantic Highlands, so it's not a Berliner Weiss; it's a Highlander Weiss.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
There you go. But and then he was the original inventor of the session ale, a session ale for session ale for double IPA drinkers. That's what.
That's good.
Yeah, both beers session ale for double IPA drinkers.
And the Blazon is a black saison.
Blazon, right? So anyway, but this is not a Carton show.
No, we're turning
because if we keep talking about it, Augie will appear and talk for a little while. So,
like I said, if you say his name 3 times, just don't say it 3 times.
Just don't say it 3 times, and they won't. So, I will be pouring.
Oh, you.
There you go.
It's a grunt from Old Heights.
I recognize that.
And it is.
What'd you get?
Buggy Ride.
Buggy Ride.
You recognize the writing on that one?
That's not mine. I know that.
It's not. No, it's your wife's.
Was that my wife?
Yeah.
It looked like Bug Pride.
No, it's Buggy Ride.
It looks like the flourish in the Y looks like a P.
Yeah.
He's left-handed, so.
Yeah. I believe I just missed you by like 3 minutes on Saturday last week. You were there, and I walked in, and Lisa said, "Oh, you just missed him. He just left." I believe you were there on Saturday. I'm assuming, right? In the when you first
talking? I'm sorry.
I'm talking to you. Yeah,
you just confused him.
Wait, what was that? No, I didn't hear. What was that?
Sorry, I was there on Saturday, and I walked in just after you opened, and apparently I missed you by like minutes.
Oh, you missed me. Oh, yeah. You know, we have too many kids at my house.
Oh no, I know.
There's too many kids there. So
yours.
Too many kids.
They're mine. There's too many.
Too many of them.
And I had to go home so she could come in and she could. I had to do some work. I was here early this morning, and then I had to go home. Yeah.
How many kids you have, Alex?
We just had our 3rd in October. That was crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
So having a baby during a pandemic is crazy.
That must have been insane.
I tell you. It was very different from the first 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
At least you don't have family hanging out all over the place, and sometimes, but you also don't have them to help.
Right.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, it ended up being kind of nice because she was able to stay home for a little bit, but I'll tell you, it was just I couldn't wait to get out of the hospital.
Yeah,
they were like legally you got to stay here for 24 hours. I was like,
right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like get me out.
23 hours and 59 minutes. 24. Let's go.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
I was like exactly down to the minute. So
between Dave and I, we have 7 kids. So
7 kids.
Yeah, not together.
Together. No.
All right.
I have 3. He has 4. So, but in any event, so there's 10 kids between the 3 of us. So
Wow.
there you go.
That's we're doing our part for overpopulation.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, cheers on this. This is, by the way, this Baltic Porter is delicious. I have to tell you.
Uh-huh.
Baltic Porter. I was going to ask you what style that was.
That's right. I didn't put it up. My bad. I put the banner.
Where's the crawl?
The crawl is right here. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
See, John's such a big ESPN fan. We have to have the crawl going.
So
it's not CNN that's modeled after. It's ESPN.
It's ESPN, exactly. We have another comment here. Brian said, if Italian Pilsner is a style, so is dessert stout. That's what he said. So
Italian Pilsner is a lot of more people are doing that Italian Pilsner now.
Absolutely, they are.
It's kind of a new fad right now. The Pilsners and the lagers are becoming. Once again, have we drank a lager?
Yes,
on the lager room.
We've drank lagers. Yes.
There you go. He's drinking a lager right now.
Today, you're drinking a lager, Baltic Porter.
That Baltic Porter.
Baltic Porter's a lager.
Well,
The Baltic Porter's a lager.
oh yes.
And then Matt just said, not enough Baltic Porters love that style. Yes, I love a good Baltic Porter. It's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a fun one to make. I'll tell you, making dark beers is a lot of fun. Smells great. When you're making those.
Brewery smells great whenever you make a dark beer. It's awesome.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. There was a couple of, on that note, there was actually a couple new styles that Brewers Association announced that will take effect this year for GABF.
Really?
Kentucky Common Beer.
Yep.
Kentucky Common.
Common.
Explain it, John.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't. I read the whole article, but it didn't go into detail.
Alex, any clue on what a Kentucky Common is?
Brian,
it's a darker beer.
It's a darker, so it's a dark common kind of thing.
So, because we know the California Common is a steam beer.
Yep.
It's funny. So we were talking too about the common beers, like Kentucky Common. We were, reading about that, and we were talking about having like a Central Jersey Common beer.
There you go.
That was kind of what we were going
Not
for.
Not a New Jersey, a Central Jersey Common.
Yeah,
let's get Jersey Common beer. Yeah.
Let's do a. Well, wait a minute. Hightstown's not in Monmouth County, right? Or is it? No, it's in.
It's actually in Mercer County.
It's in Mercer County.
Right before. Yeah.
So it's Mercer County Common Ale. There you go.
Exactly.
It's kind of like near the corner of Mercer, Burlington, Monmouth. Or not
we're on.
It's on the border of Monmouth County. It's right.
Yeah. Because Manalapan
borders Manalapan, and
yeah.
Matt just said, well, unfortunately, you can't really make a Kentucky Common since it used a weird rod-shaped bacteria. Okay.
Okay, that's our resident brew expert,
Matt Potenski. Yeah, and they lost the traditional recipes. That's what he said. So, but hey, hey, you know what, Matt? Let's find them.
Yeah,
let's find them. Let's get on that. Let's put our heads together and find the.
Well, we'll put his brother on that one.
It's interesting. Kind of talking about traditional recipes. It was what's his name? Tim. He used to be the head brewer at Yards. Tim.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I know his name's Tim. I can't remember his last name. But he was one of the reps for one of the we were talking about traditional styles, and we were talking about, I think, George Washington, George Washington Porter, and the Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson Tavernale. And
the Tavernale, and they had someone they tried to make the real recipe, but he changed it.
Right.
To make it taste like, so people could actually get it down.
Someone
came was like, this is not the original recipe, and it's like, yeah, because if I made that, you can't. No one would drink it.
What was the third one? The third one was the Spruce Ale. Was that
Spruce
Franklin?
Ale was the George Washington was the porter, right?
With the the Washington was the
Thomas
porter.
Jefferson was the Tavernale, and there was a Spruce. Yeah, it was a Spruce. But who the hell was that?
I can't remember.
I don't know if it was Hamilton or Franklin or one of the founding fathers, obviously.
Them, yeah. Matt just said a modern Kentucky Common is like a steam beer made with a sour mash.
Okay. Oh, well, that makes sense.
There you go. that
would
makes
make sense.
Another style too is that they're adding in for this year's competition is New Zealand style pale ale and New Zealand style IPA.
Okay, so it's just
using New Zealand hops, obviously.
Right.
You know, and then there's also a Belgian style session ale.
Belgian session.
Belgian session.
Interesting.
So those are the new. Those
I
are the
can't
three
say
new
I've had a
categories
Belgian
for.
session.
I'm sure you have whatever they're gonna deem is in that category. You've probably had before. You know, I don't think anything was called a Belgian session until now, unless somebody was calling it on their own.
You know, Matt's going to chime in on this one.
Matt, please chime in. We need your.
Matt is he's a Belgian beer freak.
Matt is a huge Belgian beer freak. He brews at I don't know if you know Matt Potensky. He brews at guest brews, if you will, at yeah, sure. Hello.
Cyprus,
thank you.
And also at Melavino.
And also he makes mead at Melavino as well too. So, but in any event, that I digress out of that. Those are some interesting styles.
You're turning it. You're turning into Tom with the. But I digress.
But I digress. I've said that 3 times, haven't I?
You have.
All right, Tom. I give this back to you. I won't say that anymore. Anyway, in any event, there's one thing I wanted to ask you really quick, and it's just one other thing I have in beer news. I just want your opinion on it. I know what ours is. Great Divide is the latest of a bunch of breweries that are actually releasing a low-calorie, lower ABV IPA. And it's like 4%. It's 99 calories. Do you think there's a market for that? Your opinion. I'm just curious. My take, I'll give you mine. It's gimmicky. Sure, it might work with a little bit, but I don't think. I think the people that are being conscious about the calories and everything else, and don't really want necessarily IPAs, and the people that want IPAs don't really care about the calories. You know, that's my take on it anyway. So,
going for flavor. Hey, take it easy. Like I don't know. I mean, even to be able to, I mean, just so you know, I mean, there's a whole process. Even using the word light is, the federal government needs to know exactly what's in your beer and how you came up, how did you make it light, and what is the caloric content, and do you have, I mean, there's a lot of kind of money in just being able to even put that on your product.
Right.
And I don't know. We don't create recipes based off. No. With that in mind first. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Who would?
I totally agree. Who would, right? And it's weird that Great Divide's actually getting to that because they're actually downsizing. They have their original brewery in Denver they're keeping, but they have a bigger production facility with a tap room. I believe they have a tap room as well up in the up a little bit further north in Denver. They're closing that down within the next year already. They announced it. And, you know, for a brewery that's downsizing like that to go out and spend money to do a light beer like that kind of, to me, doesn't make sense.
If you remember, which guest we had a guest on, we talked about that. Was that Sean Lapolito we were talking about?
I think it was.
Yeah, and he was explaining that to make when you're making an IPA, you know, the higher the ABV, it doesn't really. There's that fallacy that the higher the ABV, the more expensive the beer is to make. But as you start getting, and which is somewhat true, but as you get lower and lower in ABV, you're still doing the same thing.
Right.
So you still have to, charge as much as you would for a 7% IPA as you would for a 4% IPA.
Right.
Because this has come before.
Yeah. I mean, you could even argue there it becomes difficult even like, because isomerization of the hops and just like the bitterness, like if you ever put hops in water and boiled that, if you don't have anything kind of working with that or against that, kind of the malt working against that, right. Any kind of sweetness, I mean, it's overpowering. It really is. It's like it's a lot. So
right, yeah. To me, it would be like that's what, coming back to exactly my point with that. Like anybody that's a true IPA lover that likes the hops, the flavor of hops, and wants that hop punch in the mouth. And I'm not talking about somebody that wants to drink a 0 IBU New England IPA, that kind of thing. Somebody that actually wants an IPA, they're not really caring that they're drinking 99 calories or 199 calories or 299 calories. They want the IPA. And somebody that's concerned about the 99 calories isn't really looking maybe necessarily for an IPA. I mean, there might be a few people out there. I'm not putting anybody down, but I just think I don't think it's that big of a market to warrant spending a lot of money to, certify it a light beer and everything else. Here, to your point, but in any event, that's just mine. Really quick, just to catch up on these comments. Matt said he just brewed at Launchpad in Denver last week, and he made a.
He was out there for his birthday.
He was out there for his birthday. He made
Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt. Belated. Cheers. He made a red rye Belgian triple with Sriracha Ace and Barb Rouge hops. And then Brian said, quit showing off Matt Potensky.
There's like this little competition we're setting up between them as
the two of them. Who's the producer? They're going back and forth. But in any event, I will not say I digress again.
We'll have to get into some more of the common trivia and let Brian catch up a little bit rather than brewing acumen.
Right, exactly. Yeah. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to actually record Tom, or take a snippet of Tom saying I digress. And anytime I want to digress, I'll just hit the sounder, and it's Tom's voice saying I digress.
He says it better than you do.
No, he does.
So, Alex, we have one of our friends, Tom Mulville, known as the Beer Whisperer. He's been on the show. We will have him on the show again, and he's from the Midwest, and he must say, but I digress, at least about 18 times in his own show.
Yeah.
He'll
digress from something he digressed from.
Yes, there'll be a digression within the digression. Yes.
But, wonder if he says it on his own, like at home.
He has to.
He has to.
He has to. Yeah. His wife must be sick and tired of him saying it.
When he's finished dinner, maybe going to dessert. Right. He digressed.
I digress. I digress. Where's the dessert? Yeah.
I'm gonna some dessert stout here.
There you go. All right. Anything before we do the top three list? Anything new on the horizon coming up, Old Heights wise, as far as new beers? What you have planned for spring, summer, so forth?
This is John looks for scoops here.
I do.
Well, we got. We actually have. We're canning this Sunday, so we're going to be releasing some beers in the next couple weeks. Something special for St. Patty's Day.
Nice.
Not a stout.
Not a stout for St.
Not a stout. And
will it be red?
It'll be red. Exactly.
Okay.
So
a red New England IPA. That's what it is.
I'm sure
milkshake version of Killian's.
There you go.
But and we got some other things going on. We just have in our tap room. I don't know if you were here. If we had that ESB on tap when you were here.
Yeah, I had the ESB. That was very good.
You got an ESB. Oh,
it was so good.
Yeah.
So Dave, you missed it.
Such an underappreciated style.
Yeah, and we made. It's kind of weird. One of the first batches of brews that we did, like at least our first 5 beers, one of them was a beer to guard. And
really?
And what's weird? The weird thing, I didn't think people were going to be like asking for that, or I didn't think it would be something that we'd make that often. But ever since we ran out of it, people have been asking for it like every week. You didn't make that beer to guard?
Question for you. If John had phrased an earlier question rather than what's the craziest beer style you've done, what was the most unknown beer style you've done? Would you have gone to the beer to guard instead?
No, maybe. We also made a grisette. We're kind of into.
That's another great style.
What's really fun about having like a smaller brewery and having so many taps is we just keep making different beers that are fun that we've been messing with, that we've made before in the backyard and tasted and flavored and just messing with it here. The grisette was one that we decided we went for it. Turned out great. Everyone seemed to really like it. The beer to guard, another one people are asking for, which is interesting.
Really?
So we made that again. Yeah.
I had the beer to guard. It was very good.
You liked it? Oh, good.
Very good.
That is, because that can be a challenging style for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's been lagering for about 3 months. We've been having it sit in that tank,
and it's coming back.
Here it is. It's back. We're going to can it up this weekend. So
canning it up this weekend in
it's a good long lager.
Not this weekend, but the weekend after. You think you'll have it in the tap room?
Yeah, it's actually in the tap room right now. Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be some left because I don't think I'll be there this weekend, but maybe next weekend.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have some for you because we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna release the cans. I don't know. My wife's got the marketing brain. She tells me when things are being released, but yeah. So we've been kind of having some interesting styles. Having some fun with the different styles. We're also. I'm excited to have Brian's wife, my wife. Lee Stoltz is the architect, the person who built this. His wife was here, Hillary, and a real close friend of the brewery, Amy, was here, and they brewed the Pink Boots beer. I don't know if you guys have read about that.
I know about the Pink Boots. Yeah, I know about the Pink Boots, but I don't know about your beer. But I know about the Pink Boots movement, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we dry hopped that. Did you?
It'd been great if they'd done it yesterday. Yesterday was International Women's Day.
Exactly. Yeah. We released it on our social media. We have some pictures of them dry hopping everything and growing everything. So,
were they wearing pink boots?
No, they didn't have pink boots. I know, right? Yeah, it doesn't count.
Gotta get the pink boots.
No, but that should be a really, really good beer. Yeah.
Those boots are meant for walking.
There you go.
Those boots are meant for drinking.
Well, with the sours that you've been drinking the last couple of shows,
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of pink.
The pink color would fit right in.
Going a lot manlier.
Exactly. There you go, Tarek.
Johnny? Did you try our sours when you were here? Or?
Oh yeah, no, I had them. The was it the Frizzles?
Yeah, the Fizzles, and then the
Philly sour.
Philly sour, yeah.
Philly sour is good.
Have you had those before? Have you had?
I had them. I had them again this past Saturday, but I had them when we were down that day of the blizzard, the day of the snowstorm.
Yeah.
It was me, Jess, and
are any of them pink?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
the Fizzles are.
The two Fizzles are, but the In a Dream was sour IPA. We actually made that for if you know Philadelphia pretty well, there's a place called Magic Gardens.
Yeah.
And that was we've been trying actually every couple cycles we've been making like kind of a donation beer. Mm-hmm. So of course, like one of the third beer we made was the Altogether beer. We donated to Downtown Hightstown Business Association to help out the restaurants and everyone downtown. And we did another beer called Ladder 41, which is a red cream ale, and because we have a 100% volunteer firehouse here. Mm-hmm. So a big part of their income was like renting out their banquet hall.
Sure. Absolutely.
And since last March, there's been nothing. You know what I mean? Nothing's been happening. So we wanted to do something for them. So we were like, well, let's make a beer. Let's do something for them. And that went over real well. That was a really great beer. And then we have a really good friend who actually, she's the executive director of the Magic Gardens. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've been to her.
You've been to it. It's awesome, right?
It's great. Love it.
It's such an awesome place. Yeah.
It's on one of my many maps I've made of places to go to.
Oh, it's so cool. Actually, I got married there. Me and my wife got married there.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore. It's not my fault, but
you screwed it for everybody.
Wasn't my fault.
Great rider you threw on there.
There you go.
But it's a nonprofit. It's just an awesome place.
It's really cool.
And,
it's really Dave, go.
Yeah. I need a day in Philly.
Because of the pandemic, they had to kind of close for the winter months, and they furloughed everyone. And I said, you know what? Like, let's do something for them. And I figured it's fitting, like Mosaic hops, Philly sour yeast.
There you go.
It makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we just kind of went for it. And that beer
and another good part about it is a really tasty beer.
Yeah, but as you said, that beer really was I was happy with how that turned out. Yeah, me and Brian were both really happy with that one.
Yeah, that's a good beer.
Turned out really, really great.
That's what I've always loved about the beer industry is the way that so many breweries give back to their communities and organizations. You mentioned All Together, and then one of the beers I almost picked to drink tonight was a Black is Beautiful.
Yeah, we did one of those too. Yeah.
Did you really? Now the All Togethers, everyone was supposed to do the same recipe, right? The Black is Beautiful. They opened it up. They wanted everyone to riff
on it.
Yeah. So how did you riff off of it?
We actually did. We actually did a pretty traditional imperial stout. It was like 11%.
Nice.
And it was heavy and rich, and it was really good. Yeah, it was really, really good.
Like pouring oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. We did like, we did it like a 2-hour boil, I think, on that.
Wow.
We were just trying to get it nice and rich and thick. We really went all out trying to really get as much as we could out of that one.
I love it when you can use the word viscous.
Viscous, yeah.
That was it.
When it pours like motor oil, it's a good stout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
not just the color, the viscosity of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we donated to the Boyd Foundation, which is my wife's an educator, and she's actually a music teacher, also a choir teacher, and she taught in Trenton for 6 years, and she had a real close connection with one of her colleagues, Miss Boyd, and Miss Boyd had a foundation that she would help. She was helping the kids there just with everything: clothing, food, education, outside tutoring.
Wow,
and
great.
so they donated to the Boyd Foundation for that one. Yeah,
Nice.
that felt really good. And we were the first place they came to since like the pandemic started. So we opened early for them. The Boyd family came, and I was excited just for her and her family to like try it, try the beer.
Did you guys pull out instruments and jam?
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
So it's been really awesome. Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the red ale or the red something beer. Matt, I think Matt threw in there. Why don't you call it an IRB, an Irish?
There we go. Let's create another style.
another style for GABF. But in any event, anything.
Just an IRB is nice, and an IRA, you're going to create problems there.
Depending on who you're asking.
It depends. I mean, everybody needs an IRA.
I know I'll be doing car bombs on St. Patrick's Day, but
and I mean an individual retirement account. That's what I meant by that.
Oh, that IRA.
That IRA. So, but in the event,
and that's one of your partners there, Alex, right? The Bloomberg guy would agree with that.
Bloomberg guy, he can hook everybody up with an IRA. There you go. So, all right.
We seem to make pretty. We had a few people ask, like, do you ever make like lower ABV beers? We seem to make it kind of higher ABV. We make heavier beers here, right? It's just fun to make. We did a stress test. I don't know if you had our Wee Heavy.
Oh yeah.
Wee Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How heavy was your Wee Heavy?
That was a great beer.
Not so wee.
I actually drank it on a show back in October.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah. I drank it on one of the shows I had.
And of course, my wife found it was around Halloween when it was finished, and my wife found. I don't want to say anything. He was a funeral director in town, like back I think in the 1800s. His name was Esben, and he he made his own metal, like soldered metal casket for himself for when he was done.
Whenever that day would arrive, he was set.
That's why that's the name of it. She was like, "Oh, this is perfect." You know what I mean? And she found this picture of him, and if you look on the label, it's like his face all over it.
Epson's metal casket, nice.
Yeah.
Well. On that note, why don't we get to our top threes?
And as we do that, I'm going to open my third beer.
Why don't you open your third beer? Here, I'll just throw it up there really quick.
And the reason I'm drinking this is to kind of segue into it, because even though this one is called Seasick Crocodile, which is a phenomenal name, that is not going to be one of my three. Seasick
Crocodile is a phenomenal name. And where's it from?
This is from Prairie Artisan Ales from Oklahoma.
No. Where is Seasick Crocodile from?
That'll be the Grinch.
The Grinch, of course.
I wouldn't touch him with that.
Given the choice between the two, I take the Seasick Crocodile as well. So.
Yes, and there's Stink, Stank, Stunk, or in our case, Drink, Drank, Drunk.
Drink, Drank, Drunk, right, exactly. So anyway, all right, folks, our 33 section, folks, segment of the show. Alex, we call the segment, not that it really means anything, but we call the segment 33s. It's basically paying homage to 1933, the repeal of Prohibition. And we do a top 3 list. And why a top 3 list? Because a top 10 list would take too damn long. So
we'd have a 3-hour show.
We'd have a 3-hour show. So we'll do top 3s, folks. Tonight our top 3s are favorite beer names. Top 3 favorite beer names each. And the criteria, which we didn't say in the post, our criteria that we used is one beer name from a brewery that's outside of New Jersey, one beer name from a brewery that's inside of New Jersey that's not Old Heights, and then one beer name from Old Hights Brewing. So in that order. So
and actually, I'm going to go backwards when I do mine.
You're going to go. Of course you are.
I'll start with Heights.
Why wouldn't you?
Why would I not do something different?
All right. So Alex, why don't you our guest? Why don't you go first?
Yeah, lead it off.
Okay. Am I supposed to go in the order you said
no,
it?
You can go in
whatever.
You can go in any order you want. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
For us, I guess I already said it earlier. For our hardheads, I think.
Yeah.
And that's because that's the only beer name that I came up with here.
That's the only one you came up with.
And my grandpappy's on the label.
You should actually call it Testadori.
Yeah. I was gonna, but then everyone was like, people are they gonna be able to order that at the window?
It's like, hey, Testadori, what did you call me?
And then in New Jersey, I guess Brick City has one. It's called Proper Vase beer.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
That's your name for there. There you go. That's cool.
Proper Vase beer. Yeah. And then outside of New Jersey, oh man, I don't know if you guys. I'm a Hoof Hearted fan. They have a stout called Mom Jeans.
Mom Jeans. Just got a picture of got a visual of that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Mom Jeans. I love it. Okay, that's great. All right, Samurai, why don't you go next?
I'm going to go in the same order that Alex went. That's the way I was going to do it.
Sure.
So for your Heights, and I took notes here, so I'm going to put the cheaters on here. For Old Heights,
he's old.
Yes. So beforehand, we were talking, and I mentioned to Brian that having been in marching band, I went through many a band practice. So when I saw that name, I was like, and then found out that Brian was a music instructor.
Yeah.
And band practice brings back so many fond memories of me getting in so much trouble. I got thrown off the field once. I've had megaphones tossed at me. There was one band director, him and I just did not get along.
It wasn't you though, right?
No,
of course not. Not at all.
Could have been you.
Oh no! I was such a man. I was a handful back then.
I got a story about a band director later. I'm not gonna say it on the air, but
yeah, we'll do that in the after party. New Jersey, I was torn between a couple. I mean, I do love Carton's hop pun because that's just like throwing your hands up going, okay, we can't come up with another new hop pun, so we're just going to call it hop pun. But being such a huge Monty Python fan, I've got to go with Icarus's King Arthur's Steed because this is just a genius name for a coconut porter, right? Because if you know Monty Python and the Holy Grail, he's pumping two coconuts together.
Right.
So I think that was a genius name, Jason. If you name that one, cheers, buddy. And yes, I've got a pink beer again. See, Crocodile's pink.
Crocodile's pink.
I gotta stop buying beers that are pink. Any rate, this one's going to take a little while because even though it's threes, John, I have a way of cheating and mentioning a whole lot more than three beers. I've already named three, but I'm going to. You do it too. Don't even go.
I plan on it. Yes.
But I've got to really, I've really got to give it to Single Cut. Being a music fan, Johnny and I are, from the same generation, enjoy the same music, and Single Cut, they like to name their beers pulling obscure lines from classic rock lyrics. Right, Weird and Gilly. That's a Bowie line. Softly Spoken, that's a Pink Floyd, right? You've got Does Anybody Remember Laughter? That's Led Zeppelin.
Does anybody remember Laughter?
Yeah, right. Is This the Real Life? That's Queen. That's right out of Bohemian Rhapsody right there. Harry Doesn't Mind. Dire Straits.
We're getting a Single Cut lesson is what we're getting right now.
Yeah, and Are You Ready, Steve? I mean, that's from Sweet, right? Who quotes Sweet? But of all of them, and this
Single Cut does.
Apparently Single Cut does. And of all of them that they've named, there was one name that really stands out because it wasn't classic rock. This was not a song that a lot of people are going to know, and it's a Coco Taylor song called Wang Dang Doodle. And they named a beer Tell Shaky and Boxcar Joe. And the fact that they pulled that out of a Coco Taylor song, to me, is one of my favorite names for any beer out there. So that's why I had to go with the out of New Jersey, Tell Shaky and Boxcar Joe. And if you don't know that song, you got to look up Coco Taylor, Wang Dang Doodle. That song's a blast. That song's an absolute blast. And that's some old Chicago style blues.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good top threes.
Johnny?
I will take it here. I'm going to go in reverse order. First, I'm going to say my outside of New Jersey. I'm not going to go too far outside New Jersey, just about a half a mile outside of New Jersey, actually, to Weyerbacher, Blithering Idiot. That's a great beer name. And it's good beer, too.
Do you know the story, why they called it Blithering Idiot?
Go. Why don't you tell us?
Do you know it?
I do, yeah. Why don't you tell us that?
So when they said, was it Jim Weyerbacher? I can't remember his first name now. Was it Jim?
That I can't tell you.
But I was told this story by the tour guide, and he said back in the day, Weyerbacher, and I'm going to try to get his inflection in this. He goes, we made an IPA, we made a pale ale, we made a stout, made a brown, all the standard styles back in the day, and they wanted to get into a different style, so they went out to Victory. I've got them up there, and Mr. Weyerbacher, because I can't remember his first name right now, had his first barley wine
ever,
and he apparently drank about 27 of them. maybe only 3, but he got so damn drunk they had to take his keys away from him. They put him in the back seat and drove him home. And the whole ride home, he kept saying, "We gotta make one of these. We got to make one of these." So when they finally made one, they named it after him on that car ride home, because they said he turned into a blithering idiot. Sure. And the logo, was the blithering idiot, the fool, and it was his face. And the beauty behind that then became their logo, right? The fool, the idiot, did not start off as their logo.
It started off as the blithering idiot logo.
Right, it was the Blithering Idiot logo, and then that launched into what they are now. So it's just such a great story of evolution of a beer name.
There you go. It's such a good beer name. So anyway, Blithering Idiot. There you go. That's my number. That's my outside New Jersey.
And it pretty much made Weyerbacher.
It did.
You see,
it was one of the beers that made Weyerbacher.
But you see a beer named Blithering Idiot, you have to try it.
Oh sure, absolutely.
Especially considering when that came out, not a lot of people were taking risks in naming their beers.
This is true. They were just calling an IPA.
Right?
My number 2, my New Jersey, not Old Heights, would be. I actually had. I'm not gonna call it a tie. I'm gonna mention 2, but I'm gonna give you my one that won it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. No, it is. And that's Blunderbore. Neither of these beer names, by the way, the breweries don't exist anymore. So, Blunderbore is from Boak's Brewing. Brian Boak.
If you're listening, Brian, hello.
He ceased operations 5 years ago. Blunderbore was he had a beer called Wooden Beanie, which is basically his Abbey Brown Ale, which he aged in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans.
That vanilla Wooden Beanie.
Yeah, it was so good. And what he did, though, is he took his Monster Mash, which is 10% Russian Imperial Stout, and he aged that the same way in Jack Daniel's barrels with Madagascar vanilla beans, and he called it Blunderbore. Blunderbore is the name of the giant in Jack and the Beanstalk. Well, you knew that or whatever, but so that's where that came from. So Blunderbore was just that's the best name I liked, or my favorite name for a beer, if you will. The one that I was going back and forth with was from Heavyweight Brewing. Heavyweight closed was at 04, 05 in Ocean, New Jersey. Stick and Jab was an alt beer. Stick and Jab was the name of their alt beer, and so that was close. But Blunderbore wins it for me. And from your brewery, Old Heights, the one that won it. I'll give you the runner up. The one I was going back and forth with, because it's just such a great name. And by the way, both these names have been mentioned.
Yeah, we've talked about both.
We've talked about both of them extensively. So, Epson's Metal Casket. That was just that's just a great name for a beer.
For some reason, when I first read the name Epson's Metal Casket, Maxwell Silver Hammer came to my mind. I don't know why.
Epson's Metal Casket, Maxwell Silver Hammer. Yeah.
I don't know why.
But it was right around Halloween, right? I had the beer at the brewery. I bought a 4-pack. I brought it home, and I had it on the podcast. I think the one right before Halloween, actually. And we actually, we talked about it on the show, what it was, where the name came from. But in any event, the one that won out is a subject and a topic and a reason, if you will, near and dear to my heart. I'm inactive now. I haven't been an active firefighter for many years, but I grew up in the fire service. And if you count my inactive time, I've been in the fire service for well over 30 years. So ladder 41.
And Jack's been in how long?
My father's in his 56th year.
Wow.
Is actually this July he'll be entering his 57th year of active service. He's almost 79. He's not as active anywhere near as active as he was years ago. But now technically still an active member. But yeah, no, I ladder 41. That what you did with the fire department in Hightstown, because I've been a volunteer fireman for so many years. That was just awesome. So kudos to that.
Yeah.
And ladder 41. That's definitely my favorite because of that.
When John brought up this top threes and told me what the criteria was for it, and one had to be an Old Heights beer, and I went on to Untapped and went through your whole catalog. When I saw ladder 41, I'm like, there's John's. There's John's.
Yeah.
So in fact, the weekend you released it, I was out there getting it. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
That was definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and it was a good beer too. I mean, name aside, it was a tasty red ale. It was a red cream ale, right?
Red cream ale. Yeah.
It was really
Red
good.
cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RCA.
Yeah.
An RCA for Jack. There we go.
There you go.
Sorry.
We have a couple of other lists here. Brian gave us his Tactical Nuclear Penguin.
That's a good one.
That's a great name. Yellow Snow.
Yes, Rogues, one of the first.
Yep. And Flammable.
Flammable.
I know it's flammable. I just like to say that.
So he did Jersey, but he didn't.
He didn't. Okay. Yeah, you missed. He said too. Not sure if I follow the rules, but I tried. There you go. You missed an Old Heights beer, Brian. And then he said the tour guide was just telling you a good story as far as your.
That tour guide told us a lot of great stories. Some of the rest of them may show up in the show eventually.
And Matt's is the Brown Note.
That is one of the most disgusting beer labels ever put out.
Pathological Lager.
That's a great name. Oh God, and he's right on that third one.
Goes of the Gozerian, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes, the Ghostbusters reference.
And he said just a few good ones. There you go.
Wasn't Goes of the Gozerian? Was that a Dogfish Head?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
So.
No, it wasn't. It was. Give me another thing. And Brian said, "Sorry, I haven't had an Only Heights yet. Has to be rectified." Yes.
Yeah. Come on
it
down.
does. So we'll get you down there, Brian. We'll all converge on Hightstown on the weekend.
Oh, soon. The town will never be the same.
The town will never be the same, and maybe we'll even stop by the town next door and stop in on Chris and say it on him. So. Chris McMahon, that is.
I don't know who you're talking about. He used to manage Tavern on the Green's beer list.
Tavern on the Lake, yeah.
Tavern on the Lake, yes.
Yeah, and
Tavern on the Green's a whole different
Tavern
thing.
on the Green's a whole different. Yeah. I don't think the beer list was anything like Tavern on the Lakes.
And I don't think they let Chris in there.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah. Maybe his wife, but not him.
Yeah, his wife. Yeah, but not him.
As well as selling flying fish all over New Jersey too.
Yes, that's what he's doing now.
Well, that's not what he's doing now. He's done.
He's done with it?
Oh, no, for a while now. Yeah. Year and a half, more, something like that.
That's the last time I saw him. Was about a year and a half ago.
Yeah. He's out of the biz. Unless he got back into it. I don't think he did because he was out of it as far as the pandemic goes, and I don't think anybody got back in the biz.
Okay.
He was out of it during the pandemic.
Joe Granite got pulled back in.
Joe, yeah, but he was already in it.
Well,
Chris didn't leave it because he was because of the pandemic. He was out before the pandemic started.
So I'll have to reach out to Chris and figure out what he's doing.
So, What's future plans for the brewery? Just in a nutshell. I mean, you're
in a nutshell. Well, we're gonna hopefully be able to open inside maybe by the end of summer. So we're planning that. It's funny because when we all the real estate really, like if you ever come inside, because we do have some indoor seating upstairs, but if you
Saturday,
yeah. So when you check it out, like the brewing area, like we're crammed back here. All the real estate went to the patrons, but no one's been able to hang out there. So we're trying to rectify that, and we're hoping as things start opening up, we're kind of planning ahead to do that. And basically, that's where we're thinking that. And as bars start opening up and people have been asking for our beers, we're going to start kind of venturing out. We've been kind of staying in our own area right now as far as if you're going to get our beer, you kind of got to come here to get it. We haven't really been in stores.
I noticed.
Yeah, and it's not because people haven't asked. We've just been trying to focus on our operation and our product, and before we started kind of venturing out. And I'll tell you, like the pandemic has really put a wrench in a lot of things, but it's kind of helped us to reset, reevaluate, and kind of grow slowly. That makes sense.
Yeah, you can stay contained.
Yeah, because
we have to be contained.
We were supposed to open on St. Patrick's Day a year ago.
Really?
And literally, the installers left, everything was in, and the next day, Governor Murphy said 15 days. 15 days.
Just 15.
Curve.
Yeah, 15 days to flatten the curve. That's all it was.
Was it not?
That's what happened. And then we emailed. I remember we emailed the state saying we need our final inspection to get to get our license and to actually put beer in the tanks. And no one answered us. So we're sitting around waiting. Like days went by. We emailed again, called. No one, because no one really knew what was going on. You know what I mean? And then March turned into our first. We didn't really get going until July. So we're slowly but surely kind of growing, and just that's basically the plan is to start getting back to our original plan.
That's fair.
That's our plan.
Here's a shot of your brew house space from this past weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so let's chop it off right about.
Yeah.
And look, you're wearing a cap.
I was wearing a shocker. I was wearing a cap. Are you shocked? There you go. But no, that's great. It took you. You were supposed to, like you said, you're supposed to open in March, and it just went forever. It was
just a few months.
I was waiting, and I was happy when you finally did. When you did finally get going and everything, I got over there ASAP after that. But it's
been amazing to see how many breweries have opened during the pandemic.
There's been a lot. There really has been more than I would have thought would have. Clearly the ones that were in the works already.
Right.
You would figure, okay, well, they're not just going to sit on it and wait. They're gonna, they're gonna try and open it to do something. But the one there've been a few that we've heard that actually didn't even start the process.
It was like Limes Roar was one of those, I believe.
Yeah, one of them. And there's the brewery in Soho in New York. What the hell was it? I forget. But
I've been living in Rhode Island.
There's the one in Rhode Island. There was the other one in Rhode Island too.
Yeah, that was six pack. But they were in the works already.
But not far into the works. They couldn't.
No, not.
They could have waited.
Alex
almost opened up. He was almost ready to open. That's what I'm.
Yeah, we were like ready, and we were lucky. The fact we put out this little kind of beer garden on the side. It was going to be like just a place to hang out, play some cornhole or something, and that ended up turning into basically the spot where you could drink, the only spot where you could sit and have beer. So if we didn't have that, I don't know what we would have done.
Well, that was the interesting thing, to watch all the breweries kind of scramble and put together outdoor space. Just at Twin Elephant this past weekend, and that side area and the entranceway there, that was never there.
Right.
They seeing breweries really just adjust as they could.
The state really helped. I mean, as much as there's a lot of things that you need to do to get your license. They made these temporary allowances and permits where they said, as long as your local police department say it's cool and you get local approval, you can expand your space. And it was like 24-hour turnarounds. As long as they were like, if you want to expand your outdoor space, because they were like, we get it. Like, you can't have people inside. Right. They can't walk up to the bar. Like, we understand. So that's why all these people were able to just do it so quickly and turn around and make it happen.
That was the amazing thing during this, is that it was very early on recognized that alcohol is essential, right? And so they made all the allowances for that.
Sure. And
it came to, oh my God, you can't walk out the door with a drop of alcohol, to, hey, you want a margarita to go? Right. The climate changed so quickly. I don't know if it was the government thinking, if we keep everyone drunk, we can keep them happy, and not recognize what's really going on around them.
It's a possibility, right?
The 180 was insane.
Mm-hmm. So
Well,
I'm just curious to see what's going to happen when everything does level out and kind of get back to some sort of normalcy. If a lot of these things that they've put into play actually stay. Or if they're just, nope, sorry, you can't have that anymore.
Yeah, hopefully they don't snap back. Home delivery has been a godsend for a lot of people.
And it really hasn't affected off-premise sales. Off-premise sales are actually up. And I don't just mean, in general, obviously, but I just mean, beer sales, craft beer sales, local craft beer sales are up in off-prem locations. So you would think that, breweries making home deliveries would affect that. It hasn't at all. Mm-hmm. It's been the opposite. So, it's going to take a little bit of a hit if you think about it, because a lot of people will start going out again and going back into bars and having the beer there as opposed to staying at home. And both will take a bit of a hit, but I don't think it's going to, affect it a whole big amount.
But then again, the breweries are going to have to readjust because they're going to have to start kegging again.
Sure. Well,
what you're saying. Right. And that, if you look closely in John's photo, that you'll see all our kegs, because canning wasn't. We didn't think we were going to be canning. Like, everything kind of. You'll see all our kegs lined up right down.
I wish I could get my face out of there.
we all do, John.
Because our colder, like everything, like the size of our cold storage room, like we weren't accounting for that many cans. We just weren't accounting for all that.
Sure, yeah.
We thought we were going to be kegging up batches, you know what I mean? Versus saving half to do all that. So.
Yeah. This is my mug. That's John's mug.
That's my mug, right? Exactly. But exactly. You have all that room in your cold box, and you have all cold storage for your cans, and you have no room for your keg.
But the kegs are the only place the kegs are going are the tap room.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Right. But now you'll have to switch gears.
But
start filling up kegs again once things open up.
Yeah, but then you're going to have less cans. So obviously the space it'll
change. Yeah, exactly.
But everyone's still going to expect to buy cans at the brewery.
Right. That's still going to happen. That's not going to change, because it was there before, and even more so now. And nobody's going to go back to what they were doing before, even though it was only a little bit less. It was still going to be something that everybody's going to want to do. So you're going to have to, you're going to be, double batching beers.
Yeah. So many breweries had to go to canning.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another reason why there's so many SKUs in New Jersey right now, because there's a lot of state breweries.
I don't know if you guys have you been to. We did that collaboration with Heavy Rail, and I was talking to Jeff, and he was like, "I don't know if you've ever been to Heavy Rail."
Yeah,
I have not.
He doesn't have outdoor space.
No, I know his space. Yeah,
and his indoor space is like. Actually, he was in the middle of getting a bigger space, and he. I don't know what's going on now with everything, but I know he was in the process of doing it. But he told me, he's like, you know what, man, I'm just doing as many collaborations as I can, just because I can't really open my brewery, and I can't have anyone outside. There's nowhere to go.
His brewery, it's just you order online, you go down on Saturdays and pick it up. That's all he's doing right now. He hasn't opened at all. It's just cans to go. That's all it is. And then Matt wanted to know, does Old Hights have a canning line? Or
you spelled it wrong, Matt. You spelled it wrong.
Yeah, no E. No
it's
E.
All right. It's all right. Everyone does that. It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, we use a mobile company that comes in. Yeah.
Ironheart or?
We don't use it. We use Tripod. I don't know if you guys know Tripod.
The other one. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been awesome. We use a lot of mom and pop small companies. Like shout out to Reliable Carbonics too. They've been freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Just things you wouldn't even think you need your CO2 guy for.
Oh yeah,
we needed them. Like,
you need a CO2 guy no matter what's going on out there.
Yeah, for random weird like I need a certain type of regulator for this, or this isn't hooked up to that, and like how can I just having someone that's close by that knows what they're doing and just understands that kind of relationship. Just having a mom and pop, like a smaller company where I can call the guy I need to talk to on his cell phone and he'll call and he'll answer. You know what I mean?
Right.
He'll be like, I'll have someone there in like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. Yeah, Reliable's awesome.
Yeah.
They're the best. Yeah.
But,
he spelled that right.
He did. Yeah, he did. He did spell Reliable. There is an E in Reliable. So that's where the E goes. But, that's for Jeff. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's got can sales out the door, and that's all he's got right now. So.
Yeah. Honestly, it seems pretty awesome to be able just to travel and do all these collaborations. Like it's just a really cool opportunity, I guess. You know what I mean? I guess.
That's the other thing I've always loved about the craft beer community is the collaborations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. There's competition, but there's collaboration as well.
You know what?
What's the word you use, John?
I say co-opetition. That's my word. In the craft beer business, and I say this all the time. I've said this on almost every show at some point. I always say, like, if a Budweiser drinker is going to go to a bar and have 5 beers, he's having 5 Buds. If a Heineken drinker is going to a bar and having 5 beers, he's having 5 Heinekens. If a craft beer drinker is going to a bar and having 5 beers, he's having 5 different beers.
Yep.
He's not having 5 of the same beers. Maybe he likes one really well and he has 2 of them of the 5. But he's having 5 different beers. So it's not competition. To a point in the grand scheme of things, yes, of course it's competition. But it's really not. It's more co-opetition compared to other, even other industries, even the same industry, but on a macro scale. Yeah. It's more co-opetition than anything else. You work with each other. You don't work against each other. We know a few people in this industry that try to, work against each other, and it just doesn't pan out well for them,
And I tend not to buy their beer.
And exactly. And it's not for anything else, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not sure what he meant by this, but Matt said, unless it's Augie, then he has 5 boats. Oh, right. Unless it's Augie, then he has 5 boats, right? If he goes out to a bar. Yeah, of course. Unless there's something else on tap, Matt, but that's besides the point. Anyway, but you get what I'm saying.
I'm not going to comment on that being the number 1 boat drinker on Untapped.
Yeah, Matt, what are you talking about? Dave drinks more boat than Augie does. So.
No, I check in more boats than Augie does.
Well, that's true too. That's true.
Because he told me to.
Because he told you to, exactly. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's my point though, Alex. It's more of a competition than anything else. And if
it's been great. I mean, we're super young, we're super new. So just meeting, honestly, we've been working on this it took us about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Right. And that's fast.
Right.
That's fast to go from like idea inception to actually having a place. And just in that time, just meeting people and how awesome everyone's been and open everyone's been to come out, sit down, let's talk. Let's do it. Let's go through everything. I'll tell you everything. Like, you
want to give a shout out to any, to those who were like
people that helped.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, absolutely. 2 Ton helped us tremendously.
Barbier,
Jim,
they're the best.
Leo at Montclair was and Denise. Leo and Denise, awesome people. The dudes at 4 City.
Okay.
They were awesome. Chase at District 96.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
he was awesome. Had us out for a blue day.
And great burgers up there.
I was gonna say, you have a burger when you're up there.
I actually had a salad.
Alex had a salad at the Burger Loft. There you go.
I don't feel bad about drinking pink beers now.
But I'm trying to think of other places. Oh, and obviously Jeff at Heavy Rail was awesome too.
Yeah.
Had us out. Actually, it's funny when I went up when I first met him. He was like, hey, "Come on out, man. We'll talk." And he was like, "Listen, man, you're not going to open for like another 2.5 years, dude. It's going to be awful." You're never going to win. And the whole time I was like, you're just kidding. Come on. You're just joking, right? And then, like, he was right. Everything he said, he was just, like, super straightforward. Like, this is the way it's going to happen. And I was like, nah, it can't be that bad. And then everything happened that he said was going to happen. But you know what? It was all worth it. Like, and he said that too. He's like, it's all going to be worth it, man, but it's going to be awful. Just a heads up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's funny because you bring up Two Ton. Two Ton kind of started along the lines you did. They gypsy brewed for a while.
They gypsy brewed for many years, yeah.
Yeah, many.
We talked for a while about that.
Yeah,
it's funny because they're educators too. They're teachers too. And you know what's funny? They're one of their
Jim, not Matt. Jim is a.
Is it his dad? Because here's the deal, Brian, the other brewer who's not on right now. We went up there and we were hanging out with them. They were just super cool, showing us everything, talking about everything. And I think it was Jim's father was there, and Brian was like, "You look so familiar." And it turns out he was Brian's gym teacher.
Really? So that would be Doc.
Doc.
You're my gym teacher, man.
Oh, I can sit and talk to Doc forever.
That's great.
Yeah, he was awesome. The whole experience was really, really cool. Everyone's been super cool. You know what
Anybody just listening to the audio podcast, a classic, Matt Patensky said, a classic New Jersey beer scene move is the 2-ton group hug, a.k.a. the Barbieri sandwich.
That's Matt, Jim. I can't remember the third brother's name.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Jim. I always see Jim and Matt.
Jim and Doc, I know that.
And Doc, yeah.
But
it was cool. But they everyone has been super open, super helpful. This whole experience has been interesting. I just remember the beginning when I first talked to Brian about it, and he was like, "All right, my wife says it's cool as long as I don't spend any money."
You do whatever you want as long as you don't spend a dime.
Okay, I was like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out.
Oh, and there's no money spent.
Didn't pan out that way.
Matt said, "Mike."
Thanks, Matt. Jim, Matt, and Mike.
Jim, Matt, and Mike, and Doc.
With their father, Doc.
Jim only lives about 3/4 of a mile from me, right over here.
Yes.
Jim's right in Wall. He's literally down the road from me.
Everything's within 8 minutes from you.
Everything. Gotta love it. There's I can drive 15 minutes in any direction and hit one of 21 breweries.
There you go.
It's great. So, and
if
you add 20 minutes, if you add 20 minutes onto that, then I can go to Old Heights too. So
it'll take 45 minutes to get to any of them.
Any of them, right? It depends on when I go. So, but anyway, all right. Alex, hang out. Don't sign off yet. We'll talk to you after the show. We'll just wrap up the show here.
Yeah, but probably not too long because he's been doing a lot of rubby eye, which usually means he's tired. You know, you've got 3 kids. You know what rubby eye means.
Oh yeah, rubby eye. There you go. Anyway, all right. Well, that'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everyone for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.thelagerroom.com. That's LAGERROM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 6:30. And for those of you that want to just listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Alex, thank you, and Brian in the beginning for coming on and making great beer. It's, the beer is very tasty. The beer is very delicious. Thank you for everything and coming on the show. Matt Patensky wants to say best of luck to Alex's company. He will have to check out Heights, and he spelled it right there.
Hey, Matt, we'll have to coordinate our.
We'll coordinate.
We'll not this weekend. Maybe next week.
Maybe next weekend we'll triangulate and
triangulate.
There you go.
Have you guys out
and get everybody together. But
and we got fire pits now.
Fire pits are there, and
if we can talk Gene to coming along with us, we'll just drink it dry.
Absolutely. Yeah, if Gene comes too, forget about it.
Between John, myself, Gene, and Matt, we'll just drink it dry.
That's good. Matt said sounds good. So anyway, well, again, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And thanks for following along with us. We'll have Have a wonderful rest of the week and a wonderful weekend this weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care,
I need
guys.
more meatballs.
Get some more meatballs. Cheers, guys.
They found him face down in his waffles, maple syrup dripping from his fake rug. Who did he see when he heard who was there? Now it seems that he shit out of luck.